Hi everyone, it's Natalie. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but COVID happened, homeschooling, and everything else. And so today I'm going to talk about something that's pretty taboo, and that is in-law abuse. 1 in every 10 marriages, which is 60% of marriages, end because of in-laws meddling in their marriage. At first, when you come into your spouse's family, they try to be nice and caring and loving towards you. But right from the beginning, you can kind of feel like they're fake, because that's how I felt. It happened to me. And at first I thought, well, maybe I'm reading the situation wrong. And they are caring and loving, kind people. But when you're around someone, you can kind of feel when something's off. I'm sure a lot of you have felt like that whenever you're around your in-laws. At first, they are kind and everything, but then after a short period of time, you start seeing they are passive-aggressive. They're narcissistic. They're emotionally and psychologically abusive. And you try to look past that for years or however long you've been with your spouse. And you really try to push it aside and say, no, I'm going to try this to make this work. Maybe I'm reading the situation wrong. But then things start happening. Maybe you're dating at first, and your spouse or your partner is telling you, I have to tell you something. Please don't, go and tell my parents I told you this, but my parents are telling me that if I don't break up with you or divorce you, that they are going to out me from the family, that they don't like you and they think I can do better. They think you're a nothing and a nobody, and they're giving me ultimatums if I want to stay with you. And most healthy people will not take the ultimatums, and they will stay with their wife or their partner because, you're with this person because you fell in love with them, because you love them and respect them. But in-laws don't care how their child feels. They're narcissistic. They only care about them. They only care about their agenda, what they want. They don't care about your decisions and opinions that you have. They don't care. They want you to do what they say, and if you don't like it, then you're out of the family. That's the attitude they have. But at first, they're kind. But then you start seeing that the passive aggressiveness that they have towards you, doing little things, nitpicking you, criticizing you. And it's not healthy criticism, even though they think it is. It's not. When you have accomplishments, they don't recognize them, or they have a bigger and better accomplishment that they put in your face. People get tired of that. Nobody wants to be around in-laws that treat you like garbage. And it becomes more and more apparent throughout the years. So what the in-laws will do is they will go to other family members, friends, people that you know, and start gossiping and spreading rumors and lies about you. And it always comes back to you. And if you confront your in-law, they'll say, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't talked to that person in years. And they use cognitive dissonance on you. They gaslight you. And over the years, you catch on. At first, you don't. But over the years, you do. And then it comes to a point where you don't want to be around those people. You no longer are going to tolerate their abuse, their narcissism. You're not going to tolerate that anymore. Let me read a couple of the things that I wrote, because I don't want to just ramble. One of the things is that they're very deceitful. And in my case, and in a lot of cases that I've seen, is that it happens a lot with the mother-in-law. She's jealous of that relationship, of the new love. She's jealous of the beauty and the young spirit in the woman. She's losing control over her son. She doesn't like it because that's her supply. That's who praises her. That's who always does what she wants. But when you come into the picture, it's not about her anymore. Because like in the Bible, I don't have the exact quote or scripture, but what it says is when a man leaves his family and finds a wife, he is no longer part of that family because he now has a family. So the mother-in-law doesn't like that because she always wants her way. And if she's not getting her way, what she'll do is she'll go and try to ruin your relationship with your partner. She will do everything, underhanding things that you're like, did she really do that? I cannot believe a human being can do something like that. And it's not that she does it once. She's continuously doing this. And she's whispering things in your partner's ear about how he can do better, that you're a nobody, you're a nothing, that you're uneducated. I mean, the list goes on. And we'll say, you can do better. Don't worry about a divorce. I have money. I'll pay for your divorce. So this is the type of attitude that they get when they don't get their way through your relationship. And my husband came home several times with tears in his eyes where he cried all the way home to our house. Came in and said, I need to tell you something, but please don't react. My mother is telling me to divorce you. And I'm like, what? And I'm sure this has happened to you. You're really lost. You're like, why is my mother-in-law or my father-in-law telling my spouse to divorce me? Like, what have I done to them for them to be that cruel? You just don't get it. Really, you don't. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have experienced this. So some of the things that starts to get on their nerves and why they start turning on you is because you're no longer going to do their traditions. And if you don't do their traditions, you better watch out. If you're not going to Christmas at their house and Thanksgiving and things like that, they will put a pity party on you. They will make you feel guilty for not going to their house, even though you might go to your house, your family's house for those holidays. They start telling their children, I've done so much. I've worked so hard. I put you through college type of attitude. And, it's not about that. It's not about you actually being a good parent. It's about sharing the family, the new family dynamic. My spouse has a family and I have a family. So we have to share these traditions. But the narcissists won't do that. Some of the things that they'll also do, which you'll catch on to, and it really is it's like, I can't believe that person did that. And that is, they'll start uninviting you and expecting their child, and maybe you have a child yourself, and expecting their grandson and their son or their daughter to go to their house. And they'll say, well, your spouse isn't invited. I only want you and my grandson to come, talking about their son or daughter. And, how is a spouse supposed to feel when they have to go and tell their partner that my family said, our son and I'm invited, but you're not invited to a holiday, to vacation, to go out to eat, all these things. I mean, they will intentionally say, your partner is not invited. I only want my child and my grandchild to be there. I mean, they really do this. It happened to me. Or if you're at the table, if you do go out and you're invited to a holiday, or if you're invited to go out to eat, they criticize you and ridicule you the whole time, that nothing is ever good enough. Though, like, what happened to me is one time, a lot of things happen when I'm around them, but one time we all went out to eat and everyone's talking about the menu at the table and everything. And, this is when I lived in New York, and we went out to a pizza parlor with some people that lived near New York, and I'm asking the people there, like, what's a truffle on a pizza? What's this and that on a pizza? Well, as I'm asking these questions, my mother-in-law cleared her throat, looked down at me, which I was seated by the children, of course, looked down at me and said, excuse me, Natalie, why don't you just allow, us to order, and you can just enjoy whatever it is that we order? Pretty much treating me like a child. And I was so hurt. I mean, by that time, I was so done. Because not only did she treat me like that at the restaurant, but they came to visit in New York from Texas. She does things like, when you talk to her, and I'm sure you experienced this, when you go and talk to your in-laws about something, they act like they don't hear you. And you're sitting there embarrassed because you're talking to your in-laws and they pretend not to hear you. And narcissists do this on purpose to make you feel like you're beneath them, to make it feel like you're not part of the family and that they're not here for you, that they're here for their son and your child. I am sure that when you start getting treated like this, you get fed up and you eventually go no contact, or you distance yourself from these people because you no longer want to tolerate their disrespect or abuse. And you have that right to. You have the right not to tolerate abuse. And if someone, I don't care if it's your in-laws or not, if someone is treating you and having passive-aggressive attitude towards you, you don't tolerate that. You don't deserve it. There's no excuse for someone treating you that way. Some of the things, especially in-laws that have money, is they'll enslave you to their money. They'll buy you stuff and do things for you monetarily, where now you're enslaved to them. If you take their money or take a gift or whatever it is from them, they will expect you to act like a child, pretty much. They expect you to be quiet and you don't speak unless you're spoken to type of attitude. They also will make you do things for them that you don't really want to do. Once they gave you money or took you on a vacation, now you owe them every Christmas and every Thanksgiving, and you better be there on their birthdays and everything like that. They expect you. So don't ever take any financial, no gifts, no finance, nothing from these people, because they will enslave you to it. They expect you to have their philosophies, their political views, their traditions, because when you have your own family, you want to start your own tradition. You want to have your own holiday at your house. You want to, do your child's birthday a certain way, or you have, sentimental things that you do, but they don't ever respect that. They expect you to do what they want, and if you don't like it, they're going to gaslight you. They're going to kind of discard you and then hoover back around when they want something from you, when they realize that their whole family is not with them. They don't want you to think independently, and they want you to be part of the group that they're in. They don't want you to have, your own friends, things like that. And if you do have your own friends, they are always talking badly about them. They always try to make you see things their way. They nitpick and block the truth. When you're sitting there and let's say they're, you found out that they're saying this and that about you, and so you start acting different around them, and they'll push back, and I'm sorry, hold on, train of thought. Oh, I'm sorry, they block the truth. And that is that you know who you are and how you are. And when you find out that these people are spreading lies, gossip, rumors, all that about you, you try to stand up for what is right. You know the truth. And it could be not only that, it could be anything in your life that you know the truth. In your heart, you know it's true. That you abide by certain guidelines and rules in your life. They don't like that. They want you to do that on their terms, not yours. Okay, yeah, they try to make you see things the way they want you to see them. They are critical. They pick out your flaws and never recognize the beauty in you. You never get the results that they promise after listening to their ways and abiding by their rules. So even after you're doing everything that they say to do, it's never good enough. No matter how much you are treated like that and how much you bend over backwards for them, it's never good enough, and it never will be. They have an agenda. There's no thinking independently, and rather this is how we feel type of attitude. They tend to say that you don't know what you're talking about, and they'll go and tell people this. They will throw money in your face to get their way. They overlook your accomplishments and brag about theirs instead of recognizing yours and celebrating yours. They make up lies about you and spread gossip to others, which I've said. They will pull your children, their grandchild, aside and spread lies about you and say false accusations about you. They do this with their husband, your husband. They pull your husband aside and do this. They're trying to turn everybody that they can against you and on their side. They never want anyone to listen to your truth and how you feel, because your opinions, your decisions, and all that does not matter. Only theirs do. And they will continuously treat you like a child, even when you have children of your own. They ridicule you about your parenting, about your marriage. They will constantly tell your husband to divorce you. This happens about once to twice a year with my in-laws, and my husband tells me, and then in their face, they will smile at me. And see, what they don't know, because if you have a healthy relationship with your husband, is that your husband should tell you these things, because you need to be guarded. If you have a good husband, your husband will protect you by telling you what his parents are doing and saying in the background. But when that happens and you get around these people again, knowing what you know from your husband, they will, la la la, I'm so great, you love me, I love you, but they don't love you. And they will just act like they never said it or did it. And then expect you to stay calm through all of that. Expect you to act like you're ignorant. Act like you don't know what they're doing in the background. Act like pretty much that, they're narcissistic and they don't care how you feel or what you think. They don't care. They will try to take your children from you. They will try to leave you homeless, without a marriage, without a job, without a car. This happened to me. So don't trust these people. If you've already got that weird feeling from them that something is not right in the relationship that you have with your in-laws, then you need to actually acknowledge that feeling that you're having. Because your gut feeling is usually always right. As much as you don't want to believe it, you better start believing. Because I didn't believe it for years. And I stayed quiet through all this abuse. And I never said anything because I wanted to please my husband. But let me tell you guys, I don't care if you're a husband or a wife. You don't tolerate that. You don't deserve that. If someone is treating you with blatant disrespect, you stand up for yourself. And you need to go no contact with these people. Because if you allow your children or your spouse around these people, they will end your marriage. They will end the relationship that you have with your child. They will. They have an agenda. They always go and gossip about you. So whenever you're trying to vindicate all the lies, nobody believes you. No one will. And even if you confront these narcissistic in-laws, they will use cognitive dissonance on you. They will gaslight you. They will say, I never said or did those things. Even though you have people coming and telling you, or you could have a videotape of them saying and doing these things, and they still will deny it. Or they will say, oh, you took it the wrong way. But when it happens more than once, how can you take it the wrong way, guys? You need to stand up for your right, for your truth, for your marriage and children. They convince people all the time that your marriage is a sham, that you'll get divorced. It's only a matter of time. With my in-law, my mother-in-law already had a divorce lawyer on speed dial. She already had one picked out. That's how deep her agenda ran, because she had trouble letting go of her husband. And I'm sure that you have experienced this. I mean, not her husband, and her son. Sorry about that. And I'm sure you've experienced where you feel like your mother-in-law is part of your marriage, and it shouldn't be that way. The only person that should have any control in your marriage is you and your spouse. You should never have a meddling mother-in-law in your home, because she will destroy it. She will do everything she can to make you feel uncomfortable in your own home, to make you feel like you're the bad mother, like you're a bad wife. And she goes and tells people these things. So if you've heard it once, or you believe it in your gut that she's doing these things, she probably is. And you need to run away from that person as fast as you can. Sorry, there's been something in my eye. So you've got to leave that situation before your marriage is destroyed and your children hate you. And you, even if you get away from these people, don't ever let your children alone around them, ever. That will turn very dangerous very quickly. Let's see. They try to take your children from you when they think that you're not mothering correctly. And I'm not just saying like, oh, I'm going to grab him and tell him what's right, or her what's right. I mean, like, they literally will take you to court for your children. They literally will take you to court for your children. And I've even heard where some wives were saying that the mother-in-law came in and wanted the child to call her mom. And the mother-in-law would call that child her child. When you are doing better than them, they will nitpick and find faults and flaws in you. And I just don't mean financially. I mean spiritually, and being aware of who you are, because narcissistic in-laws don't know who they are. They are a very hurt individual, and what you see is a mask, an illusion of who they are. So even though that they're doing all this stuff and saying all this stuff, it's because they're scared that their children will no longer want anything to do with them. And that's what eventually happens, because you eventually get so fed up that they aren't in your life anymore. And it's really backwards how they think. Instead of being kind and considerate in your marriage, they're the opposite, because they have to have the control, because they are scared that they no longer will have you in their lives. But if you're kind of considerate, you'd want to be around those people all the time. So they think backwards, and they're very manipulative, And, you know, when you're dealing with someone who manipulates you, it's hard to get other people to believe that, because, you know, the in-laws treat everyone differently. So the way you're treated is not the way that their son is treated, or Jim, Bob, and Mary down the road. So when you're experiencing this abuse and you try to tell people, they don't believe you, because they have a different experience. They'll do stuff like treat you like you're not part of the family. They make you feel that way. Every time you're around them, you feel uncomfortable and unwanted. Let's say it's around Christmas and everyone's getting nice gifts. They'll give you something like a scarf or nothing at all, maybe. Okay? They do this to hurt you. What happened to me too, I don't know if you've experienced this, but whenever you're taking family photos and stuff, at first you're in the family photo, but after that initial family photo, the narcissistic mother-in-law or father-in-law will ask you to step out of the frame, so that way they can have a picture of only their family without you in it. I mean, this literally happened to me, and I'm sure other people have experienced this, where the in-laws just make you feel like a burden. Like you had their grandchild, and then they leave you out of everything. They got what they wanted, but now you're no longer part of the family, and they make you feel like this. They embarrass you. And they do this on purpose because it's a controlling mechanism. They don't ever want you to feel comfortable around them, because the moment that you start feeling comfortable, that's a sign of love. And narcissistic in-laws don't know how to love. They don't know that. They pretend. It's a facade. You know, and they'll when they're in front of people, they'll act like they're so loving and caring, but behind closed doors, they're gossiping and telling your partner to divorce you, and that they'll take everything away from you and leave you homeless. They don't care. They treat you like a child, even when you're, even when you have your own children. They will look at you, look at you one way and act nice, and they're considerate, but when they're not in your presence, they have another face on. So they have one mask in front of you, but when they're in front of someone else, they have a different mask where they're talking about you and making you look like a bad person. That's why I said, like, it literally is a mask. And they have the attitude that they don't like you and can't stand you, but at the same time, they will say that their daughter-in-law or son-in-law is the one that doesn't like them. So they'll go around saying they don't like you only because they say you don't like them, when that's not true. It's cognitive dissonance. They're saying one thing, acting another way, but you're staying the same person that you are. Like, you probably did like them, but they're going around and telling people that you don't. You know, they're dangerous too. I'm about to end this video because it's almost 30 minutes, sorry. They're dangerous too, and that is, if you piss these people off, they could kill you. They could go to your job and destroy your life. These are the type of people that are dangerous. You need to watch out for these people. If you have to, write a letter and give it to someone saying that if you end up dead, that this is the person that did it, that you're scared for your life. Because I was scared for my life. When we went no contact, I was petrified because my mother-in-law, a few years before we got married, had a private investigator follow us when my son finally broke away from his family because he wouldn't leave me. So they're dangerous people. Don't trust these people. You don't deserve it. And I'm going to close with saying this. You're amazing. You're beautiful. You don't deserve it. They're jealous of you. Even though they walk around acting like you're jealous of them, they're jealous of you. That's why they do all this stuff. They're not getting their way anymore with their child. That's your spouse now. So if you are dealing with this, you really need to distance yourself from these people before they destroy your marriage, because ultimately, that's what's going to happen. You know? So, look, you're special. Have a rockin' marriage. I was going to say, you know, kick-ass marriage and fight the beast. Go no contact. Don't deal with these people anymore. God has something in store for them. So you don't go and take revenge on them. You allow God to take the revenge out on them. You don't do that. Okay? So anyways, if you like any life coaching, I'll leave my link in the description. And if you would like to join my YouTube page, it's Good Intentions Life Coaching on YouTube, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right. Peace, love, and harmony, everyone. And good luck. Bye.